Now we go to the S. For years I always thought that the S meant that the barrel was rebarreled and you can shoot standard bullets of 323 diameter in it. That is not what the S means. I've come to find out, then again I've run into the problem, I don't know if these guns are rebarreled, but like this here does not have the conversion to the receiver, but it is stamped with an S. So this is a good example. What they did at one time is in 1905 when they developed the S bullet, and if you look at these drawings here, I'm not going to go to the detail, you can't see it, but what the difference between the S and the old cartridges would be this diameter here at the neck, okay, because if you add up, and they made the cases thicker also. So this diameter of the cartridge itself from the early type to the S bullet is bigger. And then plus there's another part of the chamber where if the bullet's a different shape, there's a little taper before it goes into the rifling, which probably had to be stretched out. So all they did was run a chamber reamer into these barrels, irregardless of what the groove diameter was. All the S means is that you've had the chamber opened up to accept the larger diameter bullet. Now because the bearing surface was only 35% from the pointed Spitzer bullet to the old bullet, there's two reasons the Germans did this. They figured that the pressure buildup with the 35% bearing surface wouldn't be that bad and the gun wouldn't fail. Plus, they just wanted all the guns converted to accept the S ammunition, and a lot of the reserves still use guns like this, which would use the old ammunition with the heavier bullets in that, because they had the ammunition made. So reserve units got these guns, but in war they wanted them to be able to use the S cartridge. So all the S marking means is that the throat was opened up to accept the S bullet. It has nothing to do with the rifling or anything like that. And because my examples I've gone through here, and this is where people run into problems. The groove diameter on this gun is 324. Okay. This one has the prick punch and the S, and that's why I'm suspecting someone slapped this barrel on. This still has a groove diameter of 318 and has also got build-up, and it has a bad barrel in it, which this could be dangerous to fire this gun. Now I have several other examples that when they changed the rifling to, they deepened it a little to like a 320, 321. I have two guns with that groove diameter, which still have the S on the barrel, or on the receiver. So it does not mean, I always thought it meant that it had a deeper rifling. It doesn't, unless they were rebarreled at a later time. So you still, irregardless of what these markings are, I'm explaining to you what they mean, you still have to check your gun closely, because like I'm finding here, some of these guns have been, in 120 years, have been messed with to where the stampings on the receiver do not match up to what they really are. And it could be a problem. It could be dangerous, or, you know, this is where the problem lies. So you still have to inspect your gun. I hope this explains what all these different markings, clarifies what they are. But even though, if you know what they are, doesn't necessarily mean the example you have, you know, if that applies to them. Because people could have changed parts on these guns over the years, and you could run into a problem. So they're a nice gun, they're fun to shoot, they're a barrel of laughs to shoot. I mean, there's, you know, you have to kind of inspect the gun yourself to make sure it's safe. Because as I'm seeing here in this assortment, there are variances and things just don't add up. And people nowadays, they'll patch together any kind of old antique gun to sell it to you, you know, from a big box of parts that Yeah, and they don't care. They don't care whether it's head spaced right or whether the bore is bad or whatever if the gun blows up on you. So when you're into collecting and into these older guns, you kind of have to be careful. That's why I'm making these videos, kind of explain it in detail how it all kind of comes together.